Hey everybody, what's going on? It's a really hot one today and I have no air conditioning here. So because of that I am wearing a tank top. And in one of my other videos someone got all salty at me because I was wearing a tank top and it did not look professional. Well, guess what? If I don't wear a tank top, I'm just going to be sweating bullets the entire time, which also does not look very professional. So I opt for the more comfortable version. So hopefully you guys can bear with me through the heat, both of the temperature outside and of these pythons. But you know what's not hot? Relapse and porn addiction. So, why don't you guys sit back and watch another one of my videos that teach you how to kick porn out of your life. Welcome to the Sacred Sexuality Project. My name is Mark Weppett and I'm here to help you quit porn and live a higher expression of your sexuality. And today what I'm going to be talking to you guys about is, the idea of a relapse, or maybe you did something bad, or, whatever. How much does it really set you back in your recovery? I get a ton of questions from people about all kinds of different things, but one of the most popular ones is the scenario where people tell me what they did. Maybe they looked at something, or they played with themselves for a little while, or whatever, and they want to know, did they just undo all of the progress that they've made in their recovery? It's an understandable question to have, because, there's bumps along the way, and you want to be clear on, how much did this set me back? Do I have to start all over again? Am I back to square one, or what? For most people, recovery is a non-linear process. What this means is that, it's going to take you a few tries and maybe a few mess-ups to really figure out how to do this and get yourself free from porn. Now, this is not to say that you have to mess up and you have to have a few rough times, because I don't want to limit anyone. Maybe you're the person who can just quit it cold turkey first try. And if you are, then be that person and do it. But for everyone else, this video is for you. So here's an analogy that I use to help people understand the recovery process. What I want you to do is imagine that your porn addiction is like a big cut on your arm, okay? And this big cut, on average, takes around 90 days to heal, as long as you don't re-injure yourself along the way. Now, if you pick at the scab, or you keep scratching it, it's going to take longer to heal, all right? If you hit it and then it busts open and starts bleeding, it's going to take even longer to heal, right? If you perform the exact same thing that gave you the cut in the first place, well, you're basically back to square one at that point. So recovery from porn works, almost in the exact same way. Your porn addiction is like a pathway in your brain that you got to give time to heal. And if you do things that sort of reopen it, it's going to set you back. So for example, let's say that you were doing something that I would call juicing. Juicing is a term that I use to describe any action that you do to get a little dopamine kick. So this could be anything from, watching a few minutes of porn and shutting it off, or maybe you were cruising Facebook and just spending a lot of time looking at hot girls, or, maybe you're just playing with yourself for a little while, or fantasizing, or something like that. Basically anything to give yourself the jolt of sexual stimulation and excitement. So that's what I call juicing. And if you do that, then that's just like picking at the scab and, itching it and everything like that. It's like not letting the wound heal. And if you do it enough, you're not really going to make any progress at all, because it's like you're picking off the scab as soon as it forms. So don't do that, obviously. But if it happens a few times, it's understandable, there are dips, and you can't beat yourself up for it. You're not going to be all the way back at square one. Just keep moving forward, keep letting it heal. Now, a full instance of PMO, where you actually, sat down porn and you masturbated to it, that's much worse. That's like you hit that scab, or maybe even gashed yourself and you're bleeding again. And if you haven't really built up much of a streak in front of that relapse, well, you might have basically ripped the whole thing off by doing that. However, if you do have a bit of a streak going on, all hope is not lost. You might still have some of that scab intact. In fact, you might actually have a good amount of it, depending upon how long you were clean before that instance of relapse. So I know some of you are going to ask, how long is enough? How long is enough time before a relapse to say that, some net healing, some net gain in healing has still occurred? Well, it's going to be different depending upon where you're at in your recovery. If you've spent every single day for the past 3 years watching porn, going 2 days is still progress. You still probably built up some solid healing, okay? But, if you are regularly, making it to 5 to 6 days and you only make it 3, well, I would say that's probably a net loss. But if you're averaging 5 or 6 days and you make it to 7, 8, or 9, I would say thumbs up. You're making some kind of progress there. Now what you want to avoid at all costs is like a full-blown binge where you just, you know, PMO for like a few days straight or like a ton of times in one day or something like that. When you do this kind of stuff, it's almost like, you know, you're creating the addiction all over again. You know, any healing that you may have built up over time is, you know, pretty much probably taken off, you know, pretty much lost. So, you know, that's what you want to avoid above everything else. So this is really crucial around, you know, if you do end up relapsing. You know, I hope you don't, but if you do, you know, you need to watch yourself. You need to be on yourself, and you need to get yourself back on your game, back on track as soon as you possibly can. Because if you let yourself slip and slide for a while, then you're really going to be setting yourself back. So if you slip up, then, you know, you want to get clean real quick. Watch my video on how to learn from relapse and, you know, set yourself up for an even better streak next time. Beating a porn addiction is like winning a tug of war, you know. On one hand you got this rope, and on the other side's your addiction. You're both pulling back and forth, and you're trying to win, okay? And sometimes, yeah, your foot might slip. You might make a little dip, you might lose a little ground. But as long as you keep tension on the rope and keep pulling, I believe that you will win this battle. So keep tugging by not tugging, and stay clean.